We can go ahead and get started. Good evening. My name is Lauren Delmar with the Fairfax County Department of Transportation, and I want to welcome you to this meeting to discuss the 2023 repaving program in the Springfield district. Before we begin, I would like to review some guidelines so everyone can participate and get the most out of this session. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and will be posted on YouTube, then linked to the 2023 repaving program webpage. Microsoft Teams does offer a live captioning service. You can find that by clicking the 3 dots and choosing Turn on Live Captions. Once the presentation is completed, we will begin the question and answer portion, during which participants will ask their questions aloud. The chat feature has been disabled for this meeting, so we will not be taking written questions. Please hold your questions to the end. If you are on the phone, we have instructions at the end about how to ask questions. We also encourage you to submit your comments to today's meeting using the online feedback form at the bottom of each repaving program webpage. Written feedback by written feedback or by phone call. Again, we'll have those addresses for you at the end of the presentation. Supervisor Harry of the Springfield district could not join us tonight. However, he did send his staff, Peyton Onk, so she is here, and we also he mentioned that he would be happy to answer any questions if needed. Thanks, Peyton. And then from our team, we also have my colleague Ryan Paul Johnson with the Fairfax County Department of Transportation, and then Huda Ali with the Virginia Department of Transportation, who will be presenting on VDOT's involvement in this program tonight. So I'm going to actually start by turning it over to Huda to go over, that's our first thing in our agenda here, to go over the paving plan for 2023.
Thank you, Lauren. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to pull up the presentation now. Can you see the slide on the screen?
Yes, but we're seeing the small version. There we go. Perfect.
Yeah. Right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Huda Ali. I'm the Assistant Director for Transportation Land Use for Fairfax and Arlington counties, and I'll be presenting the VDOT paving program tonight. On the agenda tonight, we'll be covering the topics of the state lane mile inventory and the district lane mile inventory, the planning and construction as part of the paving schedule, and we will cover the process for how roads get selected for paving and how the pavement condition is determined using the CCI rating system. And we'll present information about our dashboard and the pavement condition targets, the type of pavement treatments, this year's budget, and the different types of pavement marking and striping before we transition to the county's presentation on the topic. As you can see here, Nova District has over 14,000 lane miles. To put that in perspective, it is equivalent to going to the West Coast and back 2.5 times. The actual number might be higher as this doesn't include the mileage for ramps and newly accepted roads. This slide shows the breakdown of lane miles for our district. As you can see, over half are in Fairfax County alone. The other half is almost a split between Loudoun County and Prince William County, with only 2% in Arlington County, where we only maintain interstate and primary roads, while the county maintains their own secondary streets. The construction aspect of paving is seasonal and takes place during the warmer weather month, from spring to early fall. However, the planning for paving is a year-round process. The process starts in spring going into summer with data collection for the next season. Over the summer into the fall, we start analyzing the data, determine how much need is there compared to the available funds, and prepare the schedules and coordinate with central office. Then in winter, we close out previous contracts, put out new contracts for bids, award and execute the new contracts by February or March of the next year. How our roads get selected for paving is a question we get quite often. VDOT identifies which roads are selected for paving by using the Critical Condition Index CCI rating system, which ranges from 0, representing very poor, to 100 for excellent condition. The process is generally data-driven and based on several factors. As we mentioned, the pavement condition based on CCI ratings is one, traffic volumes is another. Avoiding locations in conflict with upcoming VDOT projects and locality projects also is taken into consideration. Avoiding locations where underground utility projects are planned. Grouping projects for economies of scale. What that means is we consider entire neighborhoods when we pave the main street within the neighborhood to achieve efficiency in contractor mobilization, provided that they meet or close to the condition threshold. We also receive feedback from our maintenance crews who are most familiar with the roads in their areas. The planning process starts with collecting the data. We have contracts that drive the roads with using high-tech vans like the one you see on the screen, which can automatically analyze and detect pavement condition in terms of distress, texture, or roughness, using GPS, cameras, and scanners to measure things like crack size and distance between cracks and others to determine the pavement condition. Once the data is collected, we determine the frequency for data collection depending on the type of roadway classification. Data is collected annually for interstate, primary, and high volume secondary, those with traffic volumes higher than 3,500 vehicles per day. For low volume roads below 3,500 vehicles per day, those with a route number in the range of 600 or higher, and make the majority of the lane miles, including residential streets, we do 20% of those every year with the goal to cover the full lane mile inventory every 5 years. This lower frequency for this roadway classification is because of the higher mileage and the limited resources. On this slide, you can see that after the pavement condition data is collected and analyzed, it gets translated into a rating on a scale from 0 being worst to 100 being best, like in the case of a new road. The rating system we use is called CCI, stands for Critical Condition Index. We focus on very poor and poor roads with sufficiency ratings below 60 CCI. We do not pave roads with ratings higher than 60 CCI. Pavement condition targets are decided based on the type of roads. The targets for 2023 are shown in the box at the bottom left of the screen in green. For interstate, high volumes primaries and high volume secondaries, our goal is to have 82% of the network at a 60 CCI rating or above. For low volume primary, we have a target of 75%. For low volume secondary roads, the ones in red, we have a lower target of 60%. We will see later how in the presentation how the current pavement condition inform our budget decisions. We do apply different treatments. There is preventive maintenance, where we try to extend the life of pavement by applying slurry seal. We also do limited patching and crack seal. Candidate roads are typically not in poor condition, with CCI rating of 60 or above. Under corrective maintenance, we do mill and overlay 2-inch most commonly, and up to 4-inch depending on the road condition. This treatment is the most common and targets roads in poor condition. In rare occasions, we may have to replace the pavement to full depth and rebuild the road. Roads targeted with this type of treatment are typically very old and built to older standards. Each year, our district receives a set amount of budget. As you can see from the bottom row in red, this year's budget is slightly higher than last year. However, we are not able to do as much as we did last year because of the inflation. But the good news is 80% of the budgeted amount is going towards paving secondary roads to help meet the targets. Our VDOT infrastructure and maintenance teams have determined that about 43% of our low volume secondary roads have combined critical rating index in the 30s and 40s, indicating very poor condition and are due for repaving. At current funding levels, we pave about 6% of the road network each year. The Nova District continues to work diligently to catch up on paving roads across Northern Virginia. And until the roads are ultimately repaved, our VDOT maintenance team will continue to monitor for emergencies and safety-related issues such as potholes and needed patching. We do have resources available online where the public can access and learn if the road is getting paved this year and track progress. This year's paving plan is now available for public access. It shows the road planned for repaving in red. As the paving season progresses, you will start seeing the different colors on the legend start appearing. This is an interactive map where you can enter your address in the search function to find out if your street is getting paved this year. If you click on the color line on the road, a box will pop up, and when you click the arrow, you can see the direct contact information for the VDOT construction project manager. His name, phone number, and email address will also be listed, and he can be contacted directly to get additional information. VDOT tried to take advantage of free paving to implement road striping in ways that will enhance safety and operation. We strive most commonly to replace in-kind as input back what was existing before we mill and repave. We may occasionally restripe to improve traffic condition by extending a turn lane, for example. We also take the repaving opportunity to collaborate with the county to implement new marking patterns. For instance, to reduce the width of travel lanes to enhance on-road bike routes, and to implement new crosswalk to improve pedestrian safety. In this last slide, you see some helpful information on how to report a roadway problem. With that, I end my presentation, and thank you for the opportunity to speak about the state program. Back to you, Lauren.
Thank you, Huda. Let me get my presentation back up here. All right. So now I'm going to discuss the proposed striping modifications that Fairfax County works with VDOT to implement through the repaving program. We have one modification crosswalk to talk about, but first I'll go over the process and how we come to determine what the proposed modifications are. So first of all, this is a collaborative effort between VDOT and Fairfax County. We coordinate on improving traffic safety for all users through the paving program. Our roles are that Fairfax County reviews the draft paving plan when VDOT initially publishes it in the early stages, and we identify opportunities for improvements, and that includes possible new crosswalks, widening shoulders or medians by shifting the lane markings to narrow the lanes or reduce lanes, modifying the locations of bus stops where feasible, and adding bike lanes or turn lanes where appropriate. And then VDOT develops the striping and signing plans and works with the contractors to implement them. And we lead the public engagement efforts like tonight, with a lot of help from VDOT, as you can see tonight. And then VDOT identifies and reconstructs any substandard curb ramps or median roll throughs as they're required on the federal level to provide accessible routes. And we install bike lane, road diet, or crosswalk signage that VDOT later maintains, but we do install it. We look for crosswalk enhancements at busy pedestrian crossing locations that don't have crosswalk markings at present. We try to determine if the crosswalk meets the VDOT warrants for a crosswalk and if minor parking restrictions are needed in order to provide the adequate sight distance to make the crossing as safe as possible so that people can stop, drivers can stop with adequate time and distance. VDOT will upgrade existing crosswalk striping at anywhere that it's standard markings. They will typically do that near schools and transit stations, but also at any locations that are not controlled by a stop sign, a yield sign, or a signal. They'll go from the two lines to this bars that you can see on the screen in that sample crosswalk in the picture. And then we also identify key crosswalks for future enhancements, like pedestrian refuge islands that we could come back and add in the future. We add those to our unfunded crosswalk improvement list for future improvement. In the Springfield district this year, we have one proposed crosswalk location at Shiplet Boulevard and Capella Avenue. This connects the residents north of Shiplet to the residents south of it, and also along Capella Avenue and to the school just to the south of this location, the elementary school. And this would include a proposed parking restriction marked in yellow on the map here. That includes 8 parking spaces on the westbound side of the street. And that's in order to make sure that a driver who's approaching from the east, I'm sorry, it says on the westbound side, but yes, that's right. Who's approaching from the east going west can see the pedestrian in the crosswalk and have enough time to stop for that pedestrian before the crosswalk. There are also existing ramps at this location, which allows us to add the crosswalk without coming in and doing any additional work, and it can go in right away without and meet our accessibility needs. So again, tonight we'll be collecting community feedback, any paving related comments. So things like drainage issues, signage, signal needs, walkway repairs, or sight distance issues can be particularly due to vegetation overgrowth, can be directed to VDOT. There's the My VDOT portal at https://my.vdot.virginia.gov. And then if you'd like to request any of those repairs, you should click the I Need a Road Repaired link on that portal, or you can also call the number 1-800-4ROAD. That's 1-800-367-7623. If you have striping related comments, so comments related to the crosswalk that was proposed in the Springfield district, you can submit those electronically to us at Fairfax County by emailing dotbicycleprograms@fairfaxcounty.gov or by using the feedback form in the red box or on the project webpage. We'll be collecting projects comments through May 10th, 2023. And our webpage is https://www.fairfaxcounty.gov/transportation/2023-paving-and-April-26. I had to read all of that for anyone who cannot see the presentation. So thanks for your patience with that. So again, tonight we'll be collecting questions and comments in this meeting. So to ask there's the website link again for anyone looking for that for our website comments. There's also our email address and phone number. But then if you'd like to ask a question now, please use the reactions button and then click raise your hand at the top of your screen. And then if you're calling in on the telephone, you can press *5 to raise your hand, and then we will allow your microphone, and then you can press *6 to unmute yourself to speak. And Ryan Paul is going to lead the question and answer for us.
Okay, so we're going to go into ICU1 participant. Please forgive me if I pronounce your name wrong. I'm going to say Jorge Toricio, and I'm going to allow your mic, and you can go ahead and mute yourself and ask your question or have a comment.
Yes, good evening. My name is Jorge Torico. I am a resident of Burke, the Springfield district. I live about maybe 2 miles from the location. I often bike past that location, and so do my kids on their way to Lake Braddock Secondary School through the Bike LBSS effort. I lead the Bike Burke local club. Just wanted to indicate my support for the crosswalk striping. I would also ask that if they could please also stripe the other end. Unfortunately, the Share the Roads VA.org website is down due to the grant not being reapplied for. And that website was really helpful to educate all people, not just bicyclists, but motorists and pedestrians, that every crosswalk is a natural prolongation of sidewalks. But most people assume that the only place to cross is what is painted. So unfortunately, when pedestrians are hit inside crosswalks, if they're not painted, the news media and police often report incorrectly that they were hit out of a crosswalk. And so I would just ask that all crosswalks in this intersection be appropriately painted so that that misconception and misinformation that often is held by most drivers, politicians, judges, police officers, and news reporters is not incorrectly indemnifying drivers when they hit pedestrians in intersections like that. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Jorge. And I'll just say that that is a VDOT policy at this time to only mark the crosswalk on one side of an intersection. However, I do understand where you're coming from, and we will continue to work with VDOT to determine how to move forward with those types of concerns. But we did select the crosswalk location on the east side due to the proximity to White Oaks Elementary School. For the marked crosswalk, I should say, because as you are correct that the other side is still a unmarked crosswalk.
And I am not seeing any further hands up at this time. If anyone does have a question, please go ahead and raise your hand. One more from Jorge. All righty. You can go ahead and unmute yourself, Jorge.
Yes, since I wanted to give everybody a chance to speak if they had not, I did have a follow-up question. will there be an opportunity to indicate potential other crosswalks in the Springfield district that may benefit from the safety of the clear lining and demarcation?
Yes, please provide those as comments, either written or you can provide them now if you know of locations, but you might want to go through the map and provide them written comments. We would like to know if there are other additional locations that are of concern and we can review them.
Perfect, we'll do. And that's anywhere within the Springfield district, or are you guys focusing on a particular area so that I can provide that feedback through email?
For this program, we're focusing on any road that is being paved. We will accept comments on other streets if you have them. However, we might have to wait for a future repaving cycle to be able to add those markings.
Got it. Thank you so much. I know how to use the repaving plan, repaving streets tool, so I'll do that. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you, Jorge.
Lauren, I'm not seeing any other hands at this time.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and do our final words. So this concludes our meeting on the 2023 repaving program in the Springfield district. A recording of the meeting will be available on the 2023 repaving webpage in the next day or so. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we really appreciate your time and participation. Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.